Hey everyone, welcome to Saturday Night Popcorn. This is Jason.
This is Kai, and we have another great discussion for you today. The movie of today is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah.
It's from 2000. It's 23 years old. It's old enough to drink. You haven't
Ooh.
seen it. Still want to give you a spoiler warning.
But sadly, we're both still older than it. But
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, Crouching
Uh,
Tiger, Hidden Dragon from I see 2000 in Letterbox, but I see 2001 some other places. So I'm just gonna go with whatever Letterbox says.
yeah.
But 2000 and from Ang Lee. And Ang Lee's actually has some other stuff under his belt that he's directed and stuff like
Yeah, he's big time.
Godzilla, the 2000 version of Godzilla, I think. Brokeback Mountain too was on the list. Um, but yeah, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I'm surprised I've never seen this movie. Actually, I was very
I'm on the
surprised.
same page. My dad, like, I remember this DVD being in my dad's DVD collection
Yeah,
and like him watching it, but I just somehow never watched it with him.
yeah, it's shocking to me. Where I ended up watching it Sunday because I was like, I'm gonna like try to not forget it and everything, even though going to down the road in this discussion, I think this is a fairly unforgettable movie.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I was like, this is impressive. And well, let me ask you this: this first question
Hmm.
and a tangent.
Hmm.
Who took the slow motionness of the movie? In Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, there's like the what people call bullet time nowadays, or like when the Matrix came out, was like the whole like, oh, they're gonna go slow motion, and you see all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It happens in this movie, but
Yeah.
I'm assuming I think didn't the Matrix come out at the same time? Like
I
who
thought
figured it out? Like
Matrix
did they come with the same
was
idea?
Matrix was an '01.
Oh, one. So yeah, like a year later.
So
So
yeah,
were
so they would have
the
filmed this in '99. They would have filmed Crouching Tiger in '99, and they would have filmed Matrix in 2000. So
so
they would
were
have seen this technically,
the Wachowski
the sisters.
siblings like 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 I don't know. I'm like
Oh, no, no,
I'm
no. I'm
like
lying. I'm lying. Matrix was '99.
99. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so maybe Crouching Tiger probably took it from the Matrix.
But that's weird though, because this came out in '99, so they filmed it in '98. Crouching Tiger would have been filmed in '99 and released in 2000.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know.
I don't know. It was Chow Yun Fat just kind of walking around, and Michelle Yeoh just kind of like, what's going on with the movie sets?
Like, ooh,
Right.
look what they're doing.
I got this cool movie coming up. I need to take some ideas.
I'm gonna take your wires. I'm using your wires to fly through the air.
But surprisingly, I don't
I
know.
think they did it better.
I think so too. I really
Yeah,
like. Granted, The Matrix is it's like there's that look and style,
yeah.
but I think with the eloquence of this movie, I think the floatiness makes it like it's amazing,
It felt like you were watching a piece of art.
right?
Like just the way they floated. Like you didn't you like you knew they were connected to wires, but you at least for me, like I knew they were connected to wires, but it was still just like, damn,
I don't know,
this is beautiful.
like you know that, but it's easy enough to forget, and you're like,
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
have no clue how they did this,
Yes. Because I was like, yo, they're in the air in trees right now. These trees are
right?
tall. How the heck did they do this? Like the whole time they were fighting in a tree, I'm like, how did they get the wires up that high to get these people up there to dance like this?
Yeah, and like their feet look like they're touching, like they're physically touching something, and they you can
Yeah.
tell they're like standing on something. The it maybe it's going into my likes and stuff, but that
Hmm.
first fight between Michelle Yeoh's character
Hmm.
and the person stealing the sword, was it
The
the Green
the lady from
Destiny
Rush
or
Hour 2.
Dynasty? Yeah, the one from Rush
Uh
Hour 2. Yeah. Patty had just
Jade,
watched all the Rush Hour stuff, and so she was like,
as
"Hey,
she
I think that's
should.
the woman from Rush Hour." But
It's crazy to think Rush Hour only came out a couple years after this.
right,
Or Rush Hour
man.
2, sorry.
But still, but that first kind of fight scene kind of I think the darkness helps out with everything.
Yeah.
Because like
But
no
like the
matter what, I
first time
think
you see them flying through the sky was crazy.
yeah, and they're like just floating on like the
Hmm.
rooftops and they're moving across the walls as they're fighting. This the choreography is
That was one
like
of
you're
my
looking
likes
at
also.
we're watching Bruce Lee and all this stuff, Jackie Chan. I think the choreography amongst like all of these individuals the same time and also doing the tricks of like being on the wall, jumping around
Hmm.
and stuff. I don't know, man. I was like, this is impressive.
But nothing can touch this movie. After watching this, yeah, nothing can touch this.
I think so. Or it's like I think you're almost tainted to watch this
Yeah.
movie and you're like, what nothing's gonna look the same after this.
And this came out 23 years ago, which is crazy. Like there has to have been another kung fu or action movie that looked this beautiful in there. At least I haven't seen it.
Well, look at like it's on the same vein as the Matrix, talking about the Matrix, like the newer Matrix, whatever it was called, Revolution,
Terrible. Yeah,
didn't look
terrible.
good. Like nowadays,
No. The first one was
does
better.
yeah, the first ones were good. Like the first three, granted, like when you kind of like pull something out of thin air to like make a newer version of something that's like back then, sometimes doesn't bode well.
But they didn't have any source material.
Right.
Like the source material for the Matrix was the same source material that they used for Terminator, supposedly.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there was like some conspiracy theory that this one lady wrote the book and she was saying that Neo's mother is, I'll have to find it again and send it to you, but it's like John Connor is Neo's dad, or John Connor's mother is Neo's mom, or something like that. It was some like wild, wild conspiracy theory, but it was all based on this book. And they were like, oh yeah, they pulled the Terminator series and the Matrix from this particular book.
Whoa, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when we watch YouTube late at night. You go down these rabbit holes.
TikTok, man.
Oh,
TikTok
okay,
changes
TikTok.
lives.
Different, yes.
TikTok changes lives.
But I truly enjoyed the choreography of this movie. And actually the showcasing of different weapons of with all these people, like that like bar scene that the young character, I forget what her name was. The one that stole the Green Dynasty.
Hmm.
But there's like that bar scene where like we heard that there was a master person here and we want to get a lesson and stuff. And there's like those two twins that are holding like those two clubs and everything, and like the
Oh
different
yeah.
weapons that they kind of showcase within this movie. I think you kind of like have never seen other than like you watch like probably Mortal Kombat and everything. Like each character has her own specific weapon, but I was impressed by that. For some reason, I was like, this is you would think you'll see typical swords and stuff, but no, there's like all this other stuff,
Well, even Michelle Yeoh, when they were fighting in that cave, she grabbed every different
right?
type of weapon.
Yeah. And then the thing where like she couldn't swing the big one, I was like,
Yeah.
and she's like, all right, I'm just gonna like fuck it. And then her favorite weapon was the machete. Like,
Yes.
very
And she had the
cool.
double machete.
Yeah, I was to be honest, I was like, I
That
turned to
was actually
Patty,
really cool.
I was like, did that thing turn to two? Like, how did that happen?
That was a cool, like all of the close-up fight scenes were crazy.
Yeah.
Like that was what that's my like. That's all my likes is like the choreography, the fight sequences. Because like you have close-up shots. Like I don't know how they filmed it because you're like, okay, we're gonna get the wide shot of these people flying through the sky, but then we're gonna go in and get you a close-up of like these swords hitting each other or the people hitting one another. Yeah, I don't know how many takes they did or how they did it, but they pulled off some magic.
And to think about the editing of everything, like to
Yeah.
be able to like edit those things together, like if there were
The
multiple takes of like the wide shots and then the close up shots, like man, that was impressive.
it felt seamless.
Yeah, right.
Like a lot of them, you feel like, okay, here's the cut, and then you see like the uh the repositioning of the camera for the
Hmm.
new shot. But this just felt like, okay, they didn't move at all. Like they were just there, ready.
Yeah, yeah. I was impressed by the also the tempo of the music that they added in the action sequences, that
Mm,
you had like as the fight started, you had like a slow tempo, but as it kind of ramped up, the
it was
music
dope.
also ramped up and everything.
Hmm. Yeah, they did a
Yeah.
great job. I have like I had to I had to like really dig for a dislike for this movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
the other
I have,
thing,
well, my one dislike,
uh
but I'm like, whatever.
my other like was the framing and the imagery that was used. Like every shot, like they had some shots where um what was the young lady's name? But the lady from Rush Hour, she was in the foreground, but in the background was like a mountain. And I was like,
uh,
yo, this is a beautiful shot. Like it was a
yeah.
really pretty, like, yeah, pretty image.
Yeah, there was also another shot that kind of stood out to me, like where they're in that center where like the governor visits and everything, and they kind of meet when Michelle Yeoh's character is like presenting the Green Dynasty to that guy.
Hmm.
There's like a shot where like there's a dude standing in a doorway, but like it's a very wide shot, so you see the doorway that he's standing in,
Hmm.
person standing in the middle of the doorway, but then you also see like what's out there behind him, which is like an open kind of gravel spot, and then more kind of like a squared kind of opening and stuff. And so there was like a lot of like good kind of framing with everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I really have nothing bad to say about this movie.
Yeah, I think the acting too, like I don't know how old Michelle Yeoh, but Michelle Yeoh's been around forever. I think
Yeah, she was in the
anybody
movie with
like,
Jackie Chan in the 80s,
yes, and then nowadays you still see Michelle Yeoh, and so it's
doing her
like,
thing. She just won she finally got an Oscar.
yeah, oh yeah, with the,
Everything Everywhere All at
yeah,
Once.
right. I still gotta watch that movie.
You do. It's really good. It's really,
but
really good.
but I think the acting was also really good too. Like I didn't, there was nothing that kind of stood out to me, almost like where you can kind of pinpoint things in like the westerns that we watched last month or so,
Yeah.
where like you have people that like over exaggerate things, and you can tell they're like the extras. They're like, oh, just go pretend to die and everything or
Hmm.
whatever. Go
And
figure
it's
it out.
over dramatic. Ah.
Yeah, it seemed like everyone kind of like knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And
Oh, there was one thing. That bar scene. For some reason, like watching that bar scene reminded me of a Western.
yeah, right.
Like just all the chaos ensuing in the bar, and then people getting thrown out the window, and then you see the town, or the rest of the town outside of the bar. It
Yeah,
reminded me of a Western.
it did, right? It's like it does, it still had the style of sort of the environment around it, but it all the wood, they're drinking and gambling and stuff, and she's there to get a room to stay in and some food and everything too. So yeah, it does kind of like mirror like a western
Hmm.
kind of scene that you'll see at the OK Corral. All right, let's try to get nitpicky. Like what we're
Yeah.
kind of like thinking highly of this movie, but what do you see as the negative?
My only dislike, and this was me being picky, was the shade of green that the trees were when they were
Yeah,
finding the trees.
interesting.
Yeah. I'm weird about like shades of green. Like if I take a photo, like if I go somewhere and I take a photo of trees, like I'm out like walking through the redwoods, I like when I edit the photo, I have to edit the green in a certain way for me to like it.
Mm.
Like I'll look at it and I'm like, this is too yellow or too bright. Like if it's too bright, I'm like, this looks fake.
Was it
And
too bright? I can
it
see
was too
that
bright.
it's
Yeah,
probably too bright. Yeah.
it looked fake.
Well,
Like
yeah,
to
like
me, yeah.
as I look out, like I'm up here in the Pacific Northwest and stuff, and I'm looking out at a tree, like a bunch of trees and stuff, and I'm not looking at any shade of green that looks like the green that was inside the movie. So,
See, yeah.
so yeah, so like probably, yeah, I can see that that can detract you because it like flooded the screen too, and like it
Yes.
sometimes they took such a wide shot and a pulled back shot that the two characters fighting in the scene, you can barely see them.
Hmm. They got
Yeah,
washed out. Yeah.
that's true. Okay, I can see that. Interesting.
That was my only gripe.
I wonder if you can kind of go back. And granted, everyone would love to like remaster things, but like,
Hmm.
would the director, the editor, and stuff, and whoever made the film like go back and like, wait,
And
you
tune
think
down the
someone is
green.
like, yeah, I didn't like that green either. Like, I would fix that in a heartbeat.
Like, yeah, I wasn't a fan of it when we released it.
Right? But would you go back and change it? And you're like, oh, that fixes everything. So it makes it perfect. But for me, it's funny. Like, it's nitpicky. I just don't like the little like the middle section of like. Granted, it plays to the story of the guy that ends up coming to like meet her and stuff, and like he's like the the kind of like tribal kind of nomad person that like loves her and stuff. That whole like section where like they fall in love with each other and stuff. I really didn't care for that, but
Yeah, I thought that
which is
was like a
funny.
flashback for a second. The way it started, I was like, oh, this is a flashback. And it wasn't a flashback.
Well, it is, right?
Is
Technically,
it? I was
like that's
confused.
that's how they met, and that's why he's like
Yeah.
because like he came back in the middle of the night and
Hmm.
kind of like told her like, oh, I've been trying to figure out how to come back for you, but I'm
But then it
assuming
seemed
that
like it played
happened.
into the current time. It seemed like it was a flashback, and then they went right back into the current time.
It's true, right?
Yeah, it was like a weird transition from like, oh, this is a flashback to oh, here's the current time again.
Hmm.
It threw me off.
So yeah, that I for me, I didn't. I was like, I guess it was like I was too enamored by like how good the choreography and like the action was. I think that kind of detracted me. But I guess like you can kind of see it as like an intermission if you just want to go and go use the bathroom or go get a cup, go get a drink or something. But no, it doesn't take much away from me. It's just me being kind of like, whatever. I could have cared less. That was like really forgettable for me. Even though it added to the story and but even though like she like when he came back in the middle of the night, she was like, "Oh, don't I'm getting married. Like don't talk to me ever again and stuff." Like she even like told him not to like come back. So I was like, was it even necessary? But
Yeah.
I can see for the story, like Patty liked it. Patty liked the whole like, oh, like I wanted to know like why is he here and stuff. And it totally makes sense because if the dude shows up and you have no semblance of why he showed up and like why
Yeah.
he's
Like
even
who's
around,
this dirty
eh,
looking guy? Like
then
what is
yeah,
he
that's another
doing?
negative. but but I can think the sequence is too long or it's like, ah, whatever, who cares? Just get back to the action or get back to the main story.
Yeah.
All right, we didn't like the color green and we didn't
We
like the love
didn't like the
stories.
boyfriend. We didn't like the boyfriend of the color green. Like
Yeah. The well, actually
from a
going back to
2 hour
another,
movie, that's crazy.
yeah, that's true. Going back to another scene that was actually like I feel like it was perfectly kind of framed, but
Hmm.
also the color was like amazing. Was when the boyfriend tries to like break up the marriage and
Oh,
she's
with all
in
the
that like
red.
that
Oh,
box with the red and she has
yes.
like that veil over her. And then the little like thing that he shoots out like goes straight through and she's like fucking pissed.
She's like, I know who did this crap.
Yeah. She's like, I
This
know
mother,
exactly who this is.
this idiot. Not on my
but
wedding day.
but I feel like that was like framed perfectly. Just like you
That
just
was a
saw
beautiful
her,
sequence.
you know
Yeah.
where she's at because like, oh, it looks confined, it looks kind of claustrophobic,
Hmm.
but yeah, and then the color is like amazing. See, it's just saying too many good things about this movie.
They did it. Yeah, they did it perfectly with like every color but green for me.
It's like, oh, we can mess up one, I guess, right?
Like, We got to
Yeah,
do something wrong in this
you mess
movie.
up one,
Like
but it's the entire scene and everything, and the entire like location is that
an
green color.
epic scene too. Like they're flying through trees. Like, come on, I don't want to
Right?
see this mucky green. Come on.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me tell you this.
Mm.
Would you end up rating this?
I kind of forgot. So I watched this on Sunday. Yeah, I watched this Sunday, and I think I gave it a four. I can double check, but I think I gave it a four because this was a really, really good movie, and I didn't have. I honestly would have given it a higher rating, but yeah, I gave it a four.
Yeah,
It was
I think I did see your rating, and it was a four, and I ended up giving it a five. I
yeah,
was like,
I would do that too, honestly.
yeah, and even I turned to Patty. I was like, I believe that's a five
Yeah.
on my scale. And like, granted, I think in a previous podcast we kind of talked about like I think everyone believes and understands the Godfather,
Hmm.
the first one, the first
Yeah.
Godfather,
Yeah.
is considered a five.
Hmm.
And so that's sort of like the threshold that I
Yeah.
kind of carry in my head. So even with like the little nuances, we like I can honestly like
Super like our nuances were super nitpicky.
yeah, and that's why where it's like it made me feel like emotions and stuff. It the fight sequences kind of like whoa, this is like stopping me and making me watch this movie. Like you're like super attentive of it. I didn't feel like I was like reading like can't comprehend the story because I couldn't read
Yeah.
it or something. Like you still, even if you like it was probably there was no subtitles, I think you'll still kind of get the gist of everything.
Oh, for sure. But
Yeah.
most of the time, like the subtitles would take away from the film. This didn't. Like I was still
Yeah.
able to be like, oh, I still know what's going on, and I'm reading the subtitles.
Right.
I was actually like you said the emotions came out. I was sad when the poison dart
Yeah.
hit the guy.
I know. I was like, I turned to Patty. I was like, no,
They
he
better
got hit. Like,
they better save him.
yeah. And then he dies. And I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah.
spoiler, like we said it before, but I was like, dude, and then it's like that narrow. Well, she was kind of. It seemed like a few hours late. Like he died
Oh
like
yeah, she
hours
was
before I think.
chilling. Yeah, she was
He
chilling.
went to go have food and everything,
Uh-huh.
and
Came
like,
back like I got everything. It's like
yeah. Oh
he's been
no, he's
dead.
dead.
Like it's been 4 days.
Right.
You said he had 2 hours. Like what is
I
this?
I thought they were totally gonna go into it. Maybe that would have broke the movie for me if they went into
Mhm.
like a meditative sequence where like
Oh goodness.
he became enlightened and everything. But maybe that would have messed it up for me.
That
But
would have destroyed the movie if they did that crap.
yeah, I know, right? But I was like, man, he's gonna save himself by like meditating and stuff and like slowing
Just
down
wakes
his
back up.
heart.
Yo, James
But
Bond did that stupid crap.
did
I don't
they?
want to. Yeah, there was one of the Pierce Brosnan James Bonds. He like slowed down his heart. They were like, "Oh my gosh, James Bond's dead," and then like he woke back up. It was like, dude, come on, really?
Because he can slow down his heart and fluctuate his blood pressure and stuff using his mind.
That's what the MI6 teaches you.
Yes. But yeah, no, I think a five or even like a four or like within that range is like
Yeah,
very justifiable for this
four and a
movie.
half, five. Like,
Yeah, I think so. I wonder like what's the accolades of this movie? Like was it
hopefully, it won everything. Honestly,
well, like I wonder like what beat it out for best picture? Because
it
wasn't
didn't win it.
Parasite the first like Asian
Was
film
it?
that won best picture?
Shoot, I
I may
don't
be
know.
wrong. I may be like completely
Let's
wrong, but
see.
what
The
I wonder
awards
like what
section.
what won best
Oh, here
picture
we go. Won 4 Oscars.
for Oscars?
Yeah, best cinematography, best music, original score, best art direction, set decoration, best foreign language film. Oscar
So
nominee for best picture.
who won that? Forrest
Uh,
Gump or something.
it doesn't say. Best director, he was nominated. Best writing, Let me find out who won best picture in 01.
Whoever listens to this and be like, I
Oh,
found it right now.
Gladiator
Ah,
won.
Gladiator. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah,
I think they should
I
have
don't know.
won it.
Yeah, now you think about it, you're like, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah. Was that Michael Mann did Gladiator, right?
Michael Mann. I don't know actually. I know fat ass Russell Crowe did.
Let's
Back then he
find
was not
out.
overweight, but
Oh no, it was Ridley Scott.
oh, it was.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ridley Scott hasn't done a good movie since Blade Runner. Oh no, The Martian was good.
Oh, that yeah, okay, that one was good, but like the
Wait,
newer
not
Aliens and
Gladiator.
Prometheus were horrible.
Oh, I thought Prometheus was like a ooh, you gotta watch this type of movie.
It's all right. It's like, but it gets convoluted because they like try to make a
Oh,
trilogy out of those like Prometheus ones and stuff. I guess I don't know. I watched the Prometheus
good.
one and that was good, but it I heard like the next ones sucked.
Okay. Yeah, I just
But
remember what was that other movie? Oh, Blade Runner 2049 was
yeah, well, the first Blade Runner is like
was
crazy
amazing.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it almost like you almost kind of damage like the suspense at the end of the first Blade Runner where you're like, is he a replicant or not? Like what's
yeah,
going on? Because you almost kind of continue the story and you're like, you still have that question, but I feel like it takes away from the first film.
yeah. Not every movie needs a sequel.
Yeah, no, I think in granted, if you want to take all the money and stuff and whatever, who cares? Grab your paycheck, but
Yeah.
don't ruin don't ruin
Don't ruin a
something.
classic. Yeah. Like, come on. You gave us an amazing movie. Leave it alone.
Yeah, right.
Money grab.
So we'll go back and we'll go back in time in 2001. We both will vote for Best Picture,
Crouching
Crouching
Tiger.
Tiger. Yeah.
Not Gladiator.
We should do the Saturday Night Popcorn Awards and
Who
revisit
should have
years
won?
back then. You're like, fuck that shit. Like Crouching Tiger won.
That would actually be kind of cool if we went
Yeah,
back and been like, no, this one should have won this year, not that one.
yeah. There are some sketchy movies that won some awards back, like
Oh, for
so. But
sure.
like, yeah. So there's still some movies where you're like, I would double think that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that actually would be kind of a good idea.
Yeah.
But you heard it here first. A new idea from Saturday Night Popcorn.
Stay tuned.
But our typical last question is I'm assuming we both say yes, but will you buy Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon for your personal movie collection?
I'll just throw a monkey wrench in
You're like,
just to
no.
be. I'm joking. No, I would buy it for sure. Or I can
Only
just
on
go dig for my
discount,
dad's DVD.
right? Yeah, I think you're almost like losing a sense of like a movie collection if you don't have this movie in there.
Yeah,
And so
this is a great one.
find it on DVD, Blu-ray. I don't know if it comes in 4K anymore, but maybe some VHSs. It's like a 2 hour movie. Maybe it's like multiple VHSs.
It might
Remember those
honestly, it
times
may be.
where you get
Yeah.
two VHSs? I was like, it's a fat box.
And you got to like time it perfectly. And then you got to
Right?
rewatch all like the commercials again before the movie starts, and you're pissed off. Oh my
Fun
god,
times.
that used to be the worst thing in the world.
That
Put the
was
other
that
disc in. Put the other disc in.
that was the first TV I bought for myself in my bedroom. It was a like a I think a 14-inch tube TV, but it had a
Dang,
VHS player under it.
dang,
And I was
baller.
like, dude. And then when I bought my Xbox, I played Halo on that thing. I was like, and I
Had to
stood
get
in
close
front
to
of
it.
it. I stood in front of it, like
Oh
the
my
thing was
goodness.
like on a dresser that was the height of me and everything. So I stood in front of it. The thing was like really close to my face. No
Just
wonder I
killing
wear
your eyes.
glasses.
For real, just killing your eyes. Squinting to see all the little details.
Yeah, who knew about blue light back then? Who cared?
Oh yeah, because they didn't have blue light glasses back then. They were just like, your kids would be fine.
Yeah, just
Play those video
figured
games
it out.
all day.
Yeah,
I used to have my Game Boy close to my face too. Remember
yeah.
when it didn't have the backlight, you had the little squiggly the little swirly light. You plug it
Yeah,
on the
right.
side.
The thing that like to light up the thing,
Yeah.
or even when
And
it did have the black light, you remember it? Or the backlight, you know how like it would give you like a dimmer? Like you always just put it all the way to the
yeah,
top.
you
Like
put
who
it all the way to the
cares?
top. What do you mean? What? I'm trying to see everything. Trying to see the Pikachu I'm catching.
Yeah,
What do you
I
mean?
paid big money for this. Not me, but my parents did.
I paid $25 for this game cartridge. What do you mean? Good
So
times.
it goes. But all right, Kai, you want to take us out?
Yeah, thanks for joining us for another episode of Saturday Night Popcorn. I'm Kai.
And I'm Jason, and we'll be back next week for another one.